Hey everyone, we are super excited to be spreading awareness and destigmatizing mental health in the Black and Brown communities.
This podcast is a safe place for us to discuss our adversities and even our shortcomings. We all have a story.
Just remember, no matter what we go through, our story goes on. Hi everyone.
Hey y'all.
Welcome back to Our Story Goes On. And as you guys can see / hear, Joe is finally back.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be back. I missed y'all so much.
We miss you too.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be lit.
Yes, definitely. So excited that you're back for episode 11. Yeah. So before we get into anything, let's do a little bit of a check-in, seeing as though I haven't done any with anybody. Well, except for when Adonis was here. But I've usually just been checking in with myself. So I'm so happy you're here.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So how are you, Joe?
I am well. I am doing good. I cannot complain. So I don't know if y'all know, but I'm no longer in Atlanta. I have moved back home. Atlanta didn't work out, but it's okay. It's for the better.
Yes.
So I am now working 2 different jobs, and they are jobs that I do love, so that counts.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
What else? I've been doing hair again. I don't know. I'm gonna say that I was walking and being more active and stuff like that, and having more of a morning routine and stuff like that. But like the past 3 to 4 weeks, I haven't been so in tune with my walks, like doing it every day, maybe like sporadically, like here and there. But I will find a balance again. But I feel like that's been throwing me off a little bit lately. But other than that, I feel like pretty good. Like life is good. I can't complain.
Good.
How about you, sis?
Everything's good. Well, I want to say I'm really happy that you're well. I certainly have seen a difference in Joe in these last few months. So it's been really great. I don't think that Atlanta was for you. Not that I was saying I didn't think that way when you left. Of course, I was rooting for you and cheering you on, but sometimes things just don't work out. And I always say that things always will work out the way that they're supposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's always true.
Yes. But I'm pretty good. I started a new job this week. And
big money.
Yeah. So I feel like I told you guys that I started a new job in the beginning of the year. So y'all are probably thinking like, what the hell does this girl not know how to keep a job?
But no, that's not it, y'all.
Yeah, that's definitely not it. Unfortunately, the job that I had just was not cutting it financially at all.
No.
Yeah, like it was causing a lot of financial stress, actually, more than it was. I haven't felt that stressed about finances in a really long time, to be completely honest. And so as much as I was really connected to the job, and I know money isn't everything, but I have a mortgage. So things just change, when you have full-blown responsibility of a house.
Absolutely.
So, once and I think what it was too is that when I spoke to my friends in the field and I actually let them know how much I was making in this position, they were all like, what are you talking about? It was bad. And I even spoke to my therapist about it, and she was just like, what?
And not to cut you off, but I do want to say that you were not getting paid what you're worth. And I, like, as your friend, as your co-host, like as someone who loves you and knows you and like is always around you, like your job is who you are and what you do. Like it's so much of your personality. So for them not to pay you what you're worth, like that was really like the thing for me. Like, girl, go get what you worth, because they're gonna pay you for what you worth. And I'm just so glad that you found a job that you like. And
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and like that's what I was saying. I mean, I felt really bad about leaving that job because, being a therapist is difficult. I can't just hand in my 2 weeks and say bye. I have to disconnect. I have to break off that therapeutic relationship with real human beings. And so it's really tough to let people know that I was leaving, and it was, I think it was because this job compared to my other jobs, it was more like the clients were maybe a little bit more, well, I think what it was is because they were mostly adults. And then my job before that was primarily children and families. And I feel like sometimes kids, they bounce back quicker than adults do. They're like, all right, see ya. You know, they don't really care that much. But I think that's what it was. But, you know, it all worked out. But now I'm in a much better position and I am making very good money. So it's been great. So I started it on Monday and I'm only working 4 days. So that really helps, having an extra day to just relax and do whatever I need to do. You know, what the great thing about it is that since I'm only working 4 days, I can do appointments on the day that I have off. And before I had to like squeeze all those things in between work or before work, after work. And so I think everybody in the world should only work 4 days, but I know that's not possible. But yeah, so I'm super excited. The team is really great. The practice seems really great. And I'm looking forward to good things to come. So yeah, so other than that, I'm really good. Yeah. Joe and I went out last night and that was fun.
That was so nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You know when you go, it's like a chill vibe. First of all, though, if you're gonna go to, I'm just gonna say it, Vera Lounge in Cherry Hill, just be prepared to pay that $65 for some hookah, and they don't even refill it or come and cap it or nothing.
They
like,
don't.
Philadelphia would never. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, $65 for this hookah. Y'all didn't come over here one time.
Yep.
They just put 2 little coals on there. They're like, oh, they're gonna be good.
right.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah. But it was dope though. I've never been there. So that and I've heard so many good things about it. So that was a lot of fun. Good way to start our weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but y'all, let's get into
it. Definitely. So what are we talking about today, Joe?
So today's episode is about redirection and starting over. So y'all all know this is so befitting because 1, I'm coming back, and 2, I just recently had a sort of redirection of life. So I just figured I would like to come and, you know, share my little perspective.
Yeah,
on the
definitely.
situation. But yeah, I think that when you're like young, like, I don't know, I feel like we have all this pressure on us that we put on ourselves, honestly, that we need to be somewhere at a certain age or have a certain amount of things or have something, like, and it's just like we're all just trying to figure things out for ourselves. Like, I recently just graduated from college. Like, I've been around my friends who have been graduated, working on their masters or like already in the work field for so long, and I'm just like cruising through life, like trying to figure things out. And I'm just like, don't get me wrong, I always got to the bag. Like, I know how to handle my business, but at the same time, it's like when you're trying to break away from like fast money and like going into like corporate America or like going into workforce,
like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, my whole problem is not only that I'm trading my time for money, it's also that, like, I don't know, like, it's not, I don't know, it's like 40 hours of your life. Yeah. And then, like, sometimes it's not enough because they're not paying you enough.
Right,
like,
right. And it's really more than 40 hours.
Okay.
Because you have to, I mean, if you're working from home, you don't have a commute, but, like, you're still taking that time to, like, that extra hour maybe before work where you having to have a commute or get ready, you know, all that. And then, of course, people always stay later.
Exactly.
I shouldn't say always, but I feel most of the time people won't work 9 to 5 and then like leave at 5.
Try to get overtime,
or they get stuck doing whatever it is that they need to do and they don't want to worry about it tomorrow and things like that. Yeah.
And like jobs just don't understand, like, you guys are asking for so much of our lives, and for us to be only getting paid the bare minimum where we can't even afford a 2-bedroom apartment or even sometimes a 1-bedroom apartment. They are taxing nowadays. I'm looking for
inflation is real.
It's crazy.
It really is. Yeah.
I'm like, y'all don't want $1,700 for this. Like, what? This is insane.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that when it comes to like just maneuvering the ins and outs of life and things that life can throw at you, like, you just have to just not always I mean, I know it's hard for someone who has depression or, you know, like anxiety,
stress.
like yeah, like just anything. Like it's hard sometimes. It really is, because it's like, oh my gosh, like okay, I had this plan, or I'm so focused on doing this and this happened, so I can't really move this way. So I don't know. I feel like it's just a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared and you already dealing with depression, anxiety, like I don't know, like mood swings, like it's just a lot.
It's a lot, yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
boy, I can't even regulate myself. How am I supposed to regulate this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, crazy. I think it's like in terms of, what is this bug? I think like in terms of redirection and starting over, I think it really does relate to trying to understand what that means for you individually, because I think that looks different for everyone. And there is that understanding too that starting over doesn't necessarily have to be after a big transition, or I mean, it could just be you've been in this rut for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and now you're like, look, I really need to just start over. I need to reset, and I need to be able to do this for me. And then other times you're kind of forced to start over and redirect too, without having a lot of control over it sometimes, like if you're starting a new job, or you have to find a new place, or something happened to your car, like now you need a new one or something like that. So depending on, I think, the situation, sometimes you're kind of put in that position.
Exactly. And I feel like that even depends on like the situation of the redirection too. Like, because it could be like job wise, and then it could also be like relational wise, and also like you as a person, like you have to change in order to move forward in a new season in your life, or something like that, or to receive different blessings or opportunities in your life. Like you really have to be able to just deal with the punches. Like life really is harsh sometimes. Like it's like once you're out of high school and you're like 18, like 19, 20, it'd be like, all right, but once you turn 21, bills start hitting you. You're about to graduate from college. You got to figure out the world. Like it's so much. Like it's a lot. And even if you're not even in that position, let's say you decided not to go to school, you have to figure out now, how am I going to make money to afford my bills? If your parents are willing to help you, then that's help, but you still have to figure out like, okay, so what are my plans? Am I going to try to buy a house? Am I going to try to move out and get an apartment? Like if you need a car to get back and forth to work, you're like, am I going to get a car? No. Am I going to buy a car? Like all these things, all these decisions come out of nowhere. Like,
no, for sure.
Seriously.
No, I mean, it's definitely a lot, but I mean, in your personal experience with like redirection or starting over, does it ever, I feel like I've started over like 100 times. Like, but not like, oh, I've moved 100 times or I've switched jobs 100 times. But I feel like a lot of this comes like emotionally and mentally too. Like I'm always very much like, okay, like I'm ready to start my new routine. I'm going back to the gym. I mean, I've even talked about on here, like, I'm having a great routine right now. And I even talked about it. I forget which episode. Oh, the episode was how to create a daily routine. And like the amount of people with their routines on TikTok, right? Like, get ready with me, or welcome to my morning routine. And they're like stretching with the camera on. And it's like, like really. But I think again, it comes with that pressure of like, oh my goodness, like this is the way my life has to look in order for me to be happy, or in order for me to not feel so behind in life and everything. So with that being said, I mean, like for you, Joe, personally, like do you feel that there are specific things that you do when you feel like you do need to start over, or coming back to what I was saying before too, in being put in a position where you have to start over?
I feel like there's both. Like for me, one of the main ones I was just telling you about is reflection. Like always being willing to reflect and take accountability for your actions where you are in life, and not blaming anybody for where you are. Like I feel like a big thing in our generation, or people our age, they're like, oh, I'm this way because of my parents, or because of things that I've been through. And I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of people face adversities, but you have to also remember that's a lot of people. And people don't always come up and like, oh, this is the excuse as to why I am why I am. Like if you have that mindset, that's a fixed mindset, and there's no growth that can come from that. You know what I mean? So to grow and to be able to evolve to the next step, you have to go ahead and take that step back. Like, okay, what am I doing right now that's not working? Because clearly it's not me and the situation, it's me, the situation, and what needs to be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I like the way you put that, though. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't have that accountability when they, like when you were saying that, oh, well, I'm like this because of my parents, or I'm like this because of something that I might have gone through, and not having that accountability or that awareness that, okay, yes, this did happen, but, or I may have gone through this in life and I need to stop blaming other people for it, because where does that get a person?
exactly.
Like, it doesn't get them anywhere.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
And that just keeps you where you are. So if you're cool with not making enough money, or not making it ends meet, or not being emotionally happy every single day, or not being able to push towards your goals and where you want to see yourself in life, then go ahead and continue to have that mindset. But at the end of the day, it starts with you. Is it that Michael Jackson song?
What song?
Starting with the man in the mirror. Like, you know, like, start with yourself. That's really what it takes. Like, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, what do I need to do? Then you're either going to rise to occasion or continue to be the way you are. And that's going to determine your tomorrow. Our actions today always predict what we're going to be tomorrow. That's just what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And another one is, like, if I'm in a spot where I feel like when I'm mentally not trying to change, it's more like in relationships, like if I'm losing a friend or a loved one or like a partner or something like that. Like, I feel like those are the mindsets more where it's like, let me go through what I'm going through, and then maybe we could talk about growing and stuff. But those are the moments where it's just like, no, you have to choose growth, because if you continue to stay in your grief or like your pain or whatever, that just hinders you from so much. Just like, girl, you over there in the ground, like hiding and hurting, and you could just sprout. Like, all you have to do is show your head a little bit, get a little bit of sun, a little positivity, a little happiness, and you'll be all right. And I feel like those are the moments where I just have to reach out to my friends. Like, you know, like, I know that I was just going through my little rut, and you came out and we went out to eat a few times. And like, we just even went for a walk or something, and like just talked. Like, those, like, moments like that means the world to me. Like, even with Zierra, like, Zierra will always be like, okay, well, we're doing this week. Or like, even with Taylor, like, sometimes I go over to Taylor's house and don't leave that business house. Girl, I know she'd be like, girl, when are you gonna go home?
We were in the
Run together.
No, yes.
We saw each other at our wedding.
Oh, she's chiming in, y'all. She's chiming into the episode. But definitely, like, that's another thing too. Like, having someone who is on the same level as you and just understands what you're going through, that like helps 1,000%. Because it's like, sometimes you just don't even have the words.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's true. No, that's really true. I mean, I feel like we could do a whole episode of like people who refuse to grow.
Girl, yes.
But like, because I always say that in order to grow, in order to redirect and start over, like, you need to have a lot of awareness of where you are in life and what exactly is holding you back from that, from moving forward in a sense. And unfortunately, some people are very, very much stuck in their ways where, you know, you could tell a person, hey, like, this is what's going on, or like, maybe you need to work on this or whatever. And they're just like, no. And like you were mentioning, like, no, I'm like this because of, that's just how I am. And that's just how it's always going to be. And I recommend therapy for literally everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of things that people just think that, oh, well, this is how I am. I am stuck in my ways and I'm never going to change. And in certain situations, sure, right? Like, I think in certain aspects of life, you probably won't change, like a person's values or their beliefs, like something like that. But when it comes to like interactions, the way that you are with people, the way that you present yourself at work, like certain things, or maybe even like certain mental health symptoms that are just a little bit too intensified or too frequent. Like, sometimes these things just need a little like tune up. Like, okay, I'm aware of this, and or maybe I'm not aware on it, and I do need somebody there to shed a light on it, an objective perspective, which is what therapists do.
Exactly. And they also help hold you accountable. That's another
Yeah.
way.
Well,
Like,
not all therapists, but yeah.
yeah, but the good ones, right?
Right.
Like, that's definitely one thing. Like, I feel like you should have therapy, whether it's good, bad, or for a different type of reason. Like,
Yeah.
therapy should just be as well as going to get your 6-month daily checkup, like, or monthly
Right.
checkup or whatever. Like, that, like, taking care of yourself, your mind, and see where you are, even throughout the day, is very, very important. Like, I recently watched a video. It's from an Indian woman, and she's all on like being zen and how to control yourself and keep your emotions in check, because you should always be the one example she uses is, if you hear a baby crying in the other room, you're not going to just continue going on. You're not going to continue without your day while the baby's crying in the other room. Like, that's how you have to take your mental health and like your state
so
of
true.
mind as important. Like, if you're not feeling okay right now, you need to stop. Like, take a minute. Like, how is the baby doing in your head? Like, how are you doing right now? If it's unbothered, if it's crying, or if it's like hurt or something, take a second and be like, okay, what can I do to soothe you? Like, what is it that can calm you down in this moment, or like really acknowledge your emotions and your feelings, because we really need that as human beings. Like, this go robot and 40 hours, I work 90 hours, I'm making bank. Like, okay, that's all cool and stuff, but how are you at the end of the day?
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Because that's also going to affect your way of handling things and redirecting and being able to just face things that come up to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of this just comes with awareness. And I think it's also about, like I said before, about also understanding where it is that you want to go in that new direction. And you may not, like we talked about it off camera too, of you may not necessarily have like everything. Like, you don't need all these goals to be able to start over. And sure, and maybe you do, and that's great. But I think that comes with this pressure, the societal pressure, that you do need X, Y, like you need A through Z goals, and by this time, and goals are good, but you have to I always say that if you're going to goal set, make sure that these goals are realistic for yourself, and also making sure that these goals are attainable in a sense. Like, don't say that you're going to buy a house in 3 months if you haven't done your research, if you don't have any money to buy the house, like
don't have good credit.
things like that. Like, it's like, or just, it's about what is realistic for me. Or same thing I always say, like, if you want to start getting up early in the morning, but you are not a morning person, like, don't say I'm going to wake up at 5:30 every morning cold turkey. Like, you have to start kind of leaning into that. And not
like
all
10,
about starting over.
9, okay, work your way up.
Right. And that's what it really is about, starting over and having that redirection, is trusting yourself and not going into this, again, the societal pressure of like, this is the way it should be because it's how everybody else is doing it. When in reality, it's like, no, so many people are fake, or everyone's fake on social media. I should literally everybody, like, everyone only shares their highlight reels, every single person. And I think that's like, and I'm not saying that I think people should share more of like their negative stuff, but that's why I actually like TikTok better than Instagram, because I'll scroll through my For You page, and as much as it like messes me up sometimes when I see somebody talking about their like lows, I'm like, oh, this is so depressing. I deal with this at work. Like, but I'm like, wow, but that person was real though. Like, you know what I mean? And you'll never see that on Instagram. Never.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's
I shouldn't say never, but mostly.
Brought up. Like, keeping it real too, and like being real with those moments where you don't always fall through, or like you have those days when you fall short. Like, it's okay. Like, you're not gonna be 100% on go all the time. Like, so balanced with your routine all the time. There's gonna be days where you're tired, or like you just need a break, or like it's just like, dang, I've been doing so well, or I've been on track with things, but I just need a day to myself, like to just not worry about anything and just breathe. Like,
right.
Those moments and those days are so important. I think they're 10 times more important than the days where you're like off and not doing anything, because those days keep you going. Like, I need my mental health days, okay? And my jobs better know that. Like, I need them. And that's one thing that I love about one of my jobs. Like, they're really big on work-life balance and like mental health, and just making sure you're good. And like, those jobs are important, because these days, like, you have to work. Like, there's no I'm chilling at my mom's house, or I'm chilling at my house, because you're going to either get evicted, or your parents will be like, all right, you gotta go ahead. Like, that's what it is.
Like, for sure. But it's, about hopefully motivating yourself enough to get there and everything too. So yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else that comes to mind about it?
I think that's really it. We just have
Trust
to-
yourself.
Yeah.
Really. Trust yourself and I was going to say, don't trust anyone. But that's not a healthy way to go about things.
Not don't trust anybody, but always stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself and what you feel like will elevate you at the end of the day, because at the end of the day we all have our own purpose and our own music to sing to and to, you know, kind of coast to. So
Yeah.
that's just number one. Like, stay true to your music. I like that.
I like that. That's going to be today's affirmation.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Stay true to your own music.
yes.
Stay true to your own music. I like that.
Seriously. So bye, y'all.
Just gonna say bye like that. We hope everyone
Say
has a
bye.
great rest of their week, and we will see you guys for episode 12.
Don't forget to comment, rate, like, and subscribe.
Yes, always. Take care, guys. Bye.